Welcome back to another week of Procrastination Garage, and what are we doing today? Well, I don't know if we're procrastinating, we're actually going to play. Headed up in the mountains with the UTV. And the reason is, you can see the temperature, 76 degrees, and it's not even 9 o'clock. It's headed to 99 today, so today's a good day to not be in town. We reached the area we're going to unload. I say we, it's the dog and I. This is Skeeter. And it was a good test for our new tie-down system. You can see it there. Everything's still nice and secure. So yeah, we'll just call today a test. Yeah, that's it. Call it a test. Anyway, disappointingly, we only lost about 6 degrees in the drive up here. It's 70 degrees up here, so it's going to be a warm day. Got the UTV unloaded. Let's hit the trail. You ready, dog? Well, that's pretty. And look, some geese. Tell you what though, quite a few mosquitoes up here. Sometimes you gotta stop and smell the roses. Alright, they're not roses, but they're wild flowers and they're pretty. I guess we'll call that rock crawling. That's about as much rock crawling as I'm going to be doing today, that's for sure. Hey doggy! It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and we're headed back towards the truck. There's a shot of Mount Rainier, just seeing the tippy top of it. It's Friday afternoon, the chores are done, the lawn's mowed, weed whacking's done. So I guess it's time to move on to some garage projects. Probably ought to do some maintenance on the mower. It's fair to say I'm hard on equipment. Borderline abusive. I don't treat my mowers well. I don't treat any of my vehicles well. I try and do general maintenance, but I'm hard on them nonetheless. Anyway, the mower's been abused for quite a while. I'm not sure it's had an oil change since I bought it, certainly not recently. Maybe it's time to look at that, and the carburetor ought to be pulled off. It's a very dusty environment here, and so I need to put a new air cleaner on it, and I'm just going to probably spray the carb down with carb cleaner and see if we can get it to run just a little bit better. Also, it's got a pretty major exhaust leak. Maybe we could figure out what that is and order the parts to fix it. So I just came back from mowing our other property, and the tie downs that I modified last week for the UTV, they make a world of difference. The mower just glides right over them, doesn't even know it's there, and then the front tie down works good for the left front tire. I'm still going to buy one for the right rear tire. Maybe I'll go to Harbor Freight tomorrow and buy that, and maybe I'll get that into this video as well. But so far I'm happy. Aha! See this piece here? I found it laying somewhere a while back. Might have been on the trailer. Couldn't for the life of me figure out what it was. Maybe you know. Anyway, I was just getting ready to take the hood off the mower, and I figured it out. When I pulled it up, I noticed that it was kind of rocking. And I looked down there, and there's a mountain missing. And I look over on this side, and I'm like, hey, that's what that piece was I found. So I guess I'll figure out how that goes back together. Hopefully it's not broke. I think it just fell off. And we'll fix that, so when we put the thing back together, it'll work right. Troy Bilt does make it relatively easy for this hood to come off. There's one electrical connector right down there, which is already disconnected, which I'm not sure why. And then you just kind of lift the hood up and out of the way. So we'll take care of that. Yeah, right off the bat, it looks like nothing comes easy. Because if you look at this mount, you can see this little piece of plastic here. Apparently there's a piece that is missing from the bottom of this one that allows it to slide. And then there's a screw right in this area here, access from the top, which of course this little bracket, get my hand out of the way, this little bracket's in the way there. I'll go ahead and remove that and get a better look at the piece and decide if I think I can probably modify this to work. Maybe screw in from the bottom or something. I hate the idea of buying another piece just for that, but we'll take a look and see. You just never know these things are going to be metric or SAE. So I grabbed the metrics because anymore it seems like that's the default one. I got that bracket removed, and sure enough, you can see there's a little bolt right down in there. What's interesting is, it's very clear that there was some kind of heat shield over on this side. But you come around to the other side, and there's not one, and there never has been. And what's the difference? Because both of them have an exhaust pipe, both have a cylinder head right there. So you got to wonder why one side had it and one side doesn't. But I guess I don't care. And there we go. The one on the left has a little piece down here on the bottom, and this one does not. So let's figure out how we're going to fix this. We've determined nothing comes easy. So here's where we're at. This piece right here looks to be probably spot welded to the frame rail here or something. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to have one bolt that holds this mount in place over here. It just won't be using that little index piece anymore. That's fine. But what I need to be able to do is I need to be able to slide a nut in through here and grab it down there with the bolt. I can do that. I was thinking I was going to remove the muffler, and that would give me a little bit more room to work, plus it's a little hot. But the more I think about it, I don't think I need to do that. I can probably get it in there and get this put back together here relatively quickly. I just need to find a bolt. I may drill that out one size bigger. I've got lots of quarter inch nut and bolt. What I found is that on the bottom side, I can reach up, and there's actually an oversized hole in the piece, and that nut almost fits in it. And I bet you if I screw the bolt down through there, I can pull that nut up through the hole down below. It'll be one of the things where once you tighten it, it'll probably never come apart again, but we don't care. That'll be good enough. So I need to drill this hole out. It's just a little too small. So nothing comes easy. I was going to use the bolt on the left. It's just a tad short. The one on the right is plenty long, but as you can see, it's got a big shank area that's not threaded, and I need about another 1/2 inch of threads on it. Maybe not a 1/2 inch, but I need a little more threads on it. So I'm going to see if I can go ahead and thread it using my tap and die set. We'll see how that works out. I'm not a tap and die expert, but I know a couple of things. I know you want some lubricant, and I know you want to tighten it and then back it off when it starts feeling like you're getting ready to break something. You want to back off and clear the threads out. So I'm going to see if I can extend this. I don't know if this is going to work or not. The bolt on the left is what it looked like, and there it is on the right after I've added some threads to it. That is going to work perfect. Sometimes I'm impressed myself. I'm going to put it together with some red Loctite. That's the high strength stuff. And then I'm also going to double nut it, because the idea is that I don't want it vibrating loose in the future. You know what they say about best laid plans. It's together. It's not quite like I wanted it. I've got a bolt going down through. I've got a washer, a lock nut, a regular nut with red Loctite. Hopefully that'll hold it. It seems pretty solid right now, but over time, I don't know, it may loosen up a little bit. I need to put the other one back on. The hood will help hold this in place too once the pin goes down in there and everything closes up. So I'm not too worried about losing it again. All that work just so we could back it out and actually get started with the project. First thing we're going to do is blow as much dust out of this thing as we can. After wheeling it outside and blowing all the dust out of everywhere I could, now it's time to access the air cleaner. Got these two little tabs right here. Pull those off, and look at that mess. We got more to clean up in there. There's a foam element that goes around the filter, and then the filter itself. So off with the old, and I have a new filter element and the foam element that goes around it. The foam, you need to soak it in oil before you put it on. And then here you can see The carb intake actually isn't in too bad a shape. Boy, you can see there sure is a lot of dirt around there. I will get all that cleaned up, and I'm still going to go into the carburetor and clean it up a little bit. The engine is starting to look a little naked now. I pulled the fan shroud cover off. It has 4 bolts around it, plus you got to remove the bolts holding the fuel pump, and then you've got to remove the 2 bolts that hold to keep the carburetor on. Once you get that done, you can get the cover off, and now we can get the carburetor off after we disconnect a few things. The main reason I want to get this off is just it's filthy, and I didn't want to clean it in place. And the carburetor, it's filthy too. I knew there was a reason we didn't get rid of that diesel after doing the fuel filter change in the tow beast. We'll use that to clean up a little bit, that with a brush. The disassembly is continued. I haven't kept you guys in the loop. The fuel line hooks up right here, so I pulled that loose, and then it was wanting to leak fuel, so I've got some little stoppers. I plugged one of those up so it won't leak any fuel out. There's a vent line over here that mounts right up there. On these 2 bolts here, or studs sticking out, there are 2 little spacers. There's one of them, and the other one I've lost somewhere. I'll have to find that. It dropped down in the exhaust area down below. Electrical connection on the bottom of the carburetor. You got to disconnect that. Right now, what I'm working on are these 2 little levers. This one's for the choke, this one's for the throttle, and I've got to disconnect those, and then the carb will come free, and then we can clean it. There she is, free. I left the linkage attached to the carburetor, and I just disconnected it from the lower end. When I put it back together, the choke has to be hooked up first, then the throttle. I'll try and put the camera on it when I reassemble this thing. Now, I'm just going to basically spray it with carb cleaner. I'm not going any deeper in this. I'll probably pull the float bowl off and clean the jets real quick. Hey, Bear, how you doing, buddy? Yeah? You missing Dad? Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, you were up in the house earlier. You're such a sweet boy. Well, unfortunately, I've got it as clean as I'm going to get it. I was hoping to get this bowl off. If you look up in here, you need a wrench that fits in that little slot there. And I'm not sure what size it is, probably like a 12 or something. The problem is it needs a very narrow wrench, and I went through all the wrenches I've got, and I don't have anything that narrow. So I guess we're not going to take that apart. And next time I'm on Amazon, I'm going to have to look and see if I can find a wrench to fit that for next time. Okay, I got to be honest with you. This piece here came out earlier. I think I've got it put back together correctly. And it has to go in first, I think right down there. And then this stays out of the way. Come up. That there. And we slide that all the way back on there. And then we've lost another little piece. It goes right there, a little plastic piece. Yep, it went clear to the bottom. So it goes like that. And this piece goes in through there. Comes up and clips on there. And then this little spring somewhere back here needs to go in that hole right there. I think that'll do it. Run it through the motion here. I think that's it. Because I'm not the brightest bulb, what I realized was that this piece here actually is 2 pieces, and this piece was bolted to it, but there were 2 bolts that were hidden because they were covered in so much dirt and crud. So when I put this back together, I will put this piece on first. That'll make it a lot easier, and then I'll slide the other piece on over the carburetor. So let me get that bolted back. That part of the cover is back on. So that was just a waste of time in removing it. But hey, I know you guys wanted to see how it came off, right? Right. Yeah, looky there. We got that piece back in place, and I got the new air cleaner on there. It's just a tight press fit. Next thing we need to do is we need to lube this up with some oil. Ideally, I have some motorcycle air cleaner oil, filter oil. If not, I'm just going to use regular motor oil. We'll see what I've got. What do you know? I have some K&N air filter oil. So I'm going to spray that and get a good coat, and then I'm going to put it back on. Yay, air filter in place. The pre-filter is on there. It's all sprayed with oil. And we're just time to put the finishing touch back on there. Put that on. Lock that one. Lock that one. All right, there we go. I think we're done up here. Let's see if this bad boy will start. All right. Choke engaged. Brake pedal on. Hit the key. Yep, anti-idle too. The exhaust noise I'm hearing, I think, is probably gaskets between the cylinder head and the exhaust pipe. I'm just going to go ahead and order a pair of them, and then we'll replace those at a later date. I need to look up the part number. The other thing we need to do is change the oil, and I also need to change the drive belt on this thing. I forgot about that. So we're getting late in the day, so I'm going to push off. Today's Friday, so we still got the weekend to procrastinate, so we'll come back at it tomorrow. All right, we're back to the mower. Next day, it's now Saturday. We're going to go ahead and jump into the oil change. Turns out I actually have a couple of the filters on hand. I wasn't sure, so I'm going to drain the oil, and we'll get the filter changed. It takes 2 quarts of 10W30. I don't have 10W30. I've got a couple of quarts of 10W40, so that's what she's going to get. It is synthetic, so it'll be good enough. Got the oil pan in place. The thing's got a really nice little hose coming off of it that you can turn to aim wherever you want. That's pretty sweet, because usually they don't have that. At least the last few ones I've dealt with, they just have a plug right there and it makes a mess. Unfortunately, where the oil filter is, it's still going to make a mess. So we'll see how much we can get into the pan versus how much we get on my nice concrete floor. Pulled the dipstick so it doesn't go glug, glug, glug. And let's see what we get here. Oh yeah, that's a nasty looking oil. It's going to be a while for that all drains out. In the meantime, let's get this oil filter unscrewed. Oh yeah, that is some nasty looking oil. Like I said, I don't think I've ever changed it on this thing. It's amazing the thing still runs. I decided I needed to probably tilt the tractor a little bit to the left, so I stacked a couple of 2x under the rear tires and the front tires so it would drain a little bit better. And after an hour plus, there's what drained out. It's really pretty embarrassing that the oil was that thick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up 2 quarts of the 10W40. I'm going to run it for about 2 mow sessions, and I'm going to drain the oil again, because that really is unacceptable. And it's all me. Lazy, procrastinating. What do you expect? Got to give credit, though. The Kohler engines are pretty durable engines, because, you know, it runs without skipping a beat. And every Kohler I've had has been pretty solid. The only issue I think I've ever had with a Kohler was a coil issue on them. So anyway, let me get the new filter put on there, and we'll get some oil dumped in it, and we'll call this project done. Get the new filter spun into place. Now I'll tighten it up when I turn the camera off. And put the plug back in here. Well, somehow in this messy shop I've lost my favorite yellow funnel, so I guess I'll just use this white one instead. I mean, it doesn't really matter other than the fact that I don't know where the yellow one went, and I'm pretty sure I used it on the last oil change. Anyway, 2 quarts going in. Just need to put the oil dipstick back in. Alright, let's see if things starts. So was it just me or did she sound happier? I think she's happier with the fresh oil. Okay, we're going to call that a wrap for this week's Procrastination Garage. What did we do? We took the UTV to the mountains and played, which was really a way of testing the tie-down system. Also did some work on the mower. We got a new air filter on it, oil change with new oil filter. We've got some upcoming work in the form of a new drive belt, and we also need to replace the exhaust manifold gaskets. So I hope you like this episode, and I hope you click the like button. I hope you subscribe. I hope you follow. Hope you tell your friends. So tell me in the comments what you're working on or not working on. And with that, my name is Matt, and we will catch you next time on Procrastination Garage.